Hi, everybody. Welcome to Discover College Soccer. Today, I'm lucky enough to be joined by Coach Bisgrove from Oakton Community College in Illinois. Welcome, Coach.
How's it going? Thanks for having
Doing
me.
oh, thank you for being here. We're doing well. You have the women's team over there, and I guess when did you officially get the gig?
So officially, it was May 10th of this year.
Oh, wow. So you were
Yeah,
brand
pretty
spanking
recent.
new. Um, Well, so a lot of the questions then will be how you plan to do things in the future, since you, or if you've had other stops as a college coach and you want to lean on that experience, we can do that as well. Uh, but first set of questions I'm gonna talk about more on the recruiting trail, and especially at the JUCO level. You guys got to do it twice as much as everybody else,
With
reloading the
half the budget.
roster. Yeah, with half the budget, right? So, um, what when do you really start talking to players? You know, I know it's kind of you're always talking to players, but in terms of what you're in high school, what is kind of your typical recruiting cycle maybe look like?
So, for example, right now, this last year, I mean, coming in May, I had to kind of stopgap it. We had 8 players, 6 either graduated or transferred out before I got hired, and it was one of those COVID threw a wrench in everything. 2 year college, everybody kind of graduates out or decides, you know what, they're going to go a different path. So brought in some warm bodies, some fresh faces, and it's varied. We've got I talked to one woman who decided to go back to school, 35-year old. So we just got to make sure she's finished enrolling and gets her physical done, and she's good to go. I mean, I just coached club for this last summer, and we had ranging from 19-year-olds to 43-year-olds. So nothing new. I kind of like the input she's going to be able to offer, the insight she's going to be able to offer. So that's interesting, but it's diverse. I've had students reaching out to me that are not planning on graduating until 2025, 2026. Um, I have to temper it for them. I mean, one of my biggest things, I want to be honest with players. If you're coming to me, we don't have dorms. You got some nice ones like Cape Fear, what have you, have their dorms. We don't. We got apartments nearby, but realistically, that's just not going to do it for most people that are coming to community college. So the 25 and 26 graduates, hey, come on by, take a look if you're close. I'll try to invite you, get you a tour. The nice thing about JUCO is that they can jump right into a practice with us as part of their tour. So it's a nice way to experience me as a coach, my assistants, and get a feel for the team and the culture we're developing. Um, that said, I just want to keep them on my radar. Got my nice trusty calendar and schedule off here to the side. It's one of those ones I'll circle back, see if they're still interested, see if we're still on the radar. But mostly, I'm like right now, I'm still recruiting for this year. If anybody's late to the table, and then I'm looking at 23s with a sight on 24s as well, so we can kind of get an idea of where they are. I mean, this since May, 5 tournaments I've attended and scouted.
Wow.
Yeah, my wife's happy. I get out of the house and I don't have to talk to her about soccer, so can't really complain about that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, speaking of tournaments, I mean, obviously you don't really want to be focusing all your recruiting in the May June window, but
Yeah.
during this next, next 12 months, what are some of the tournaments that you plan on hitting, kind of your must attend events, or are you focused a lot on high school stuff, or are there different leagues that maybe you're attending, or different tournaments you're attending that maybe most people wouldn't think of a college attending, or what's it kind of look like for you?
I was just at one down in Lockport, Chicago Winter Tournament, about a month and a half ago. Really well run, considering it was like one of my first tournaments I attended. Blew it out of the water. A ton of great players. I was talking to UW Green Bay. I was talking to I went my first round of college was EIU, so I was talking to a couple of the coaches from the EIU. So yeah, everyone from Division 1, Caltech was there, but all the way down to some of the other local JUCOs were in attendance. So they had a nice variety. There's a good 30, 40 coaches there. But conversely, I've been to some where I'm the only one. This weekend, I've got the
Eclipse,
Eclipse
yeah.
Select Challenge, yeah, up in Waukegan. I'm going up to. I've got another one. Palatine Celtic is next month, and then I've got another one in November. But I try to stay local, so it's the kids kind of know us, or if they don't, they're going to hear about us.
Yeah. So what is it, a lot of times most people think on the junior college route that it's predominantly local kids, but do you look for anything out of state? Do you have any sort of interest from out of state players or international players or anything like that?
I've had interest from them. I studied abroad for a year in Germany. So I had two students that were German just randomly reached out. So I called them up, talked to them. We weren't going to be a good fit for them, but with our school, we don't go out of our way to recruit the international, and we don't go out of our way to recruit probably more than 100 miles from here. A lot of our students, the population is driving to school, or they've got relatives in the area. So they move in with them, they stay with them, so they can, play a little bit longer and maybe refine the skills a little bit more before they make that jump to NAIA or D3, D2, D1. Keep the budget a little low. The introduction I had with my current roster this year last week was nearly to a T costs. They can't afford it. I mean, you're looking at 40, 50,000. Sure, you can financial aid it, but we're for a local student about 10,000 for a year. That's tough to beat, and we've got a pretty decent scholarship budget. I was actually kind of surprised when they hired me and they said, "Here, you've got this to work with." We can offset quite a bit for students that are local to us. Outside of that, then you start pushing the outside of our district. You start pushing the cost of your 4 years that are in the area.
So you mentioned the costs and gave us some good insight there. What about kind of is there academic money available? Is there, what is if you were looking at an average, you know, average package, whether it's athletic, academic, how does it all work together? What's somebody coming to you and gonna end up, footing the bill out of pocket?
So what we've seen so far is with the athletic scholarship in our roster, we've got probably about 1,000 to 1,500 per student that's playing with a student athlete. So it's decent to start with. And keep in mind, the sooner you apply to any school, I mean, even if you consider us or consider any school, apply immediately. I'll just tell you that right now, because the academic scholarships, they usually go pretty quick. So if the student's rolling in with good enough to get, we've got close to $1 million in academic, whether you're a DACA, first generation student in college, everything. I mean, just ridiculous, weird nooks and crannies where they can find a package to put together for you that can help offset a lot of it. Even our athletic department's got their own academic advisor, so they can help out with students. They sit them down and say, okay, here's what we've got. Here's where we can go. What can you do? What can we do? What's your plan for that next step? Is it, hey, you want to go and go off to your D1 or D2 or D3 school? How can we make that available to you? Maybe we can find some way to transition it for you and keep those costs low.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, let's talk a little bit more about the school. Obviously I can go to the website and learn a whole bunch of things, but give me the what I'm not going to learn on the website that makes Oakton unique and is a good opportunity for someone to check out.
What kind of surprised me was it's a dual campus. So we've got one in Skokie, so we're really close to Northwestern campus. I mean, you're right a bike, 5-10 minutes, you're on Northwestern campus. The other campus, the main campus where we're playing and where majority of the school classes are, is in Des Plaines. So we're just north of O'Hare Airport. Beautiful campus. We've got you're driving up, and I grew up in the mountains in Virginia, so it was nice to see. I mean, we don't have the mountains, we don't have the hills, but the other day I had a turtle cut right in front of me on the road in the path going up to school. So it's nice, and you don't realize for it being in Chicago and being that close, you can wander through state parks right there. There's an off the leash dog park right around the corner. But go like not even a 5-minute drive past that. You've got malls, you've got airports, you've got tons of apartments, a couple small downtowns for some of the suburbs. Other teams we've got, I mean, like our baseball team, I think this is their 4th year this last year that they just made the World Series. So we've got a lot of dual sport athletes that are coming in and saying, you know what, hey, I want to play soccer and I want to do something else. So one of the things I'm hoping to change is the women's soccer team is one of the only ones that doesn't have a nice little banner with the conference title on it. So we're hoping to change that.
Awesome. Well, speaking of the team, I mean, in terms of a player coming to school, during the season, can you just give me what an average, I know there's no such thing, but an average week, what that looks like for a player in terms of when are classes, when's practice, when are games, what's kind of their normal routine going to be once the season or preseason? I mean, maybe you're starting preseason now starts.
Yeah, so school doesn't start till the 22nd of August for us, so we got a little bit of time. That said, we started August 1st. I was on vacation, managed to get COVID, so the first 3 practices I had to cancel. So they were kind of happy, but they wanted to they got a little antsy. They wanted to be on the road. Practices for us preseason are 10 to noon. Just it's nice and simple. You've got time to come in. You've got time to hit the gym if you need to. You've got time to see friends, to get stuff done, and have the whole afternoon to still hang out with friends. I mean, because let's be honest, freshman, sophomore year of college, that's what pretty much all of them want to do. I mean, they've been running around nonstop. And this is their way to make a slightly easier transition into the game. Once school rolls around, though, practices we're alternating with the guys for field time. So for the women, it's 3 to 5 on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Tuesday to Thursday, it's 1 to 3. We've got study tables every Friday, so we're going to try to make sure our GPA is up. I mean, one of the things I'm trying to stress to them, I'm a certified teacher in Wisconsin and Illinois. It's academics first. Let's be honest, they're not going to get, if they want to play at the next level, they still need to have good grades. I don't care how good of a player they are. They're not going to get a look if they aren't good in the classroom. So we're working on focusing on that. Meantime, classes, most of them are done about noon. So they got a little bit of time to catch a meal in the cafeteria, maybe run home, grab something. Some of them are doing a hybrid where they're in class or at home. So they get time to get to practice. 1 o'clock hits, they're ready to go.
Okay. Well, you talk about the academics, right? And you mentioned study tables. What other support systems are there in place to really help that student transition from high school to the college environment and balance their athletics with their academics?
So one of the things, and I didn't get a chance to do it this year, but my plan is for next year and going forward is I want to be able to bring in all our signees individually, give them the tour around the campus, get their classes scheduled, explain the expectations of them. So a lot of them just don't realize the scope of, hey, I've got to do this. I had one girl that said, hey, wow, cool, soccer sounds great. But she was homeschooled and thought also going to do 2 or 3 extra activities, was going to carry a job, was going to go full-time plus extra classes, plus swing soccer at the same time. And I'm thinking, yeah, somebody needs to sit you down and explain what's going to happen. How's this going to work? Because a lot of them don't. You got some high school coaches that'll explain it, some programs that'll explain it. But us having an academic advisor specifically just for the athletes, they can schedule time to come in. They can give them the whole run through. Here's how we're going to plan for your first year, your second year. What's your plans for the following year? Are we going to start looking at other schools? Are we going to look at program changes, things of that nature? And my assistant coach and I are going to be sitting down with, for example, our team twice a month during the season and once a month out of the season. 10, 15 minutes here, like how's life going for you? Are you okay outside of class? Are you okay inside of class? Are you finding something that's going to struggle? We've got free tutoring available for all students at the school. We've got a wellness center, so if they're feeling stressed about life, school, sport, whatever, they can just drop in and they can find that they can get that support. And they just, most of them don't even know it's there. They just need to be told and reminded. Um, and just whenever they've got it, you've got to get them in early and say, look, you've got a problem, let me know. Because we can't let anything else drag on. And the nice thing with being JUCO, you've got the small class sizes and the small teams. You don't have to worry about you're being one of 50 players or, let's be honest, some of those D2 schools I've seen on the East Coast where they're 70, 80 students, you can have as many coaches as you want on that. That's a football team, an American football team, and you're not going to keep track of everybody, nor are they going to pay attention to the little things that you're going to need. And I wish I had that. I thought that was the ones, the D1 or bust. Blew out my knee, so I was bust. Got back into coaching, and now it's, how can you help them get to that next level?
Yeah, for sure. Well, that's a good way to look at it. In terms of the soccer side of things, what is there a roster size that you're looking to be at each year?
Yeah, so we've got this kind of reminded me of my days in high school. I've got 11 on roster right now. So I had to explain the concept to them this year, coming in so late that we just couldn't get the recruiting done in time. That if you're injured, you're tired, come on out. We'll make it work. We'll find some way to make it work and you still enjoy the sport. But for next year, honestly, by the end of this month, I want to have 3 signings for 2023. By the end of the year, I want to have 10. Talking to our women's basketball coach, he said, double up on anything. If you think you're going to need 10, recruit 20. Because, they can drop out, something can happen, situations change. And the cool thing about the JUCO lineup is, say you want to apply to, a Division III school down the street. Well, cool, you can apply to us too, and you can get a dual acceptance. So we don't affect the NCAA, and a lot of the students don't realize that. They're like, nope, I'm only going to go this. Well, cool. What happens when that doesn't work? I'm happy to be everybody's safety pick.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, I know it is. When I was coaching, I recruited several junior college players. I think there's a lot of coaches out there who look for, like, I was D2, but I look for junior college players to help round out classes, to help add that maturity level. And I think, folks forget that it really is an excellent option. So, I'm sure we'll tweet this out and hopefully maybe even try to get you at least 1 or 2 more before the season starts. But in terms of staff besides you, what does the soccer staff specifically look like, and what does the kind of athletic support staff look like at Oakton?
So we got an amazing athletic director. I've coached high school soccer, mostly on the women's side, for about 15 years. I haven't had as supportive of an athletic director as I've got now. Our front desk, they are on top of everything. We've got 2 athletic trainers that are able to help out. We've got an academic advisor we just brought in who also, conveniently enough, he's got his D license. So he's chomping at the bit. He's like, hey, if you need somebody to come out and help, we've got money to hire 3 coaches, including myself. Right now, we're only doing 2 just because of the size. I didn't want to have 3 on staff if we didn't need it. But as we ramp up towards, I'm looking at possibly I want to keep a healthy roster of around about 20, not too many, but at least something happens, the injuries, the transfers, the graduations, that we've established a culture, established a setup here where the old guard as sophomores, even with all their playing time, because you're going to get a lot of playing time with these 2 years that you aren't going to get at the NCAA schools. They can kind of integrate them. They can say, here's how we run things. Here's how it's going to happen. Here's how we can help you. And then they can set up kind of a mentorship with the players. So the sophomores are helping the freshmen out. helping explain, I'm going to help you out in school. I'm going to help you out with everything. And just make that transition easier for them.
Oh, that's great. Well, in terms of the actual gameplay on the field, how would you describe your style of coaching and what you hope the team style of play to be like?
I like a possession game, but that said, um, we've got a girl that just is a firecracker at Ford. Um, she presses high. She is just in everybody's face and just a constant nuisance. As a goalkeeper, I would have hated to face her. We have the greatest depth in midfield, so it's going to be a lot of how can we, with having only 11 players, how can we get the ball to move the defenders for us? How can we get them tired without wasting our energy and our time, and still control the aspects of the game that we need to? That's going to be the general focus of it. I'd love to say we're going to score lots of goals. I'd love to say that, hey, we're going to bunker and just shut everybody down, but nobody likes to be in that team. Nobody likes being on that team and having fun. And I want the girls to have the freedom of expression to be able to give that input and say, hey, look, we're seeing this over here. Let's make an adjustment at halftime, and maybe we're getting more offensive. Maybe we're going more direct at them because we see something that they're they're weak on a side or something to that effect. But the possession allows us to wait it out, to see with them, and allows us to be natural, to be the team we want to be. If we want to change from there, we can. We can bunker, we can attack, we can transition, we can do a lot of stuff with that possession.
No, I like it. Well, we covered a lot of different things. I always like to end these the same way, and that's what didn't we cover? What is it that you would like folks to know about Oakton, about the team, about the recruiting process, anything in general that you wanna talk about? Now's the time.
Probably, it's something I've seen on soccer Twitter a bunch lately. Don't overlook the local schools, the local fits. I didn't know what I wanted to do even after my first degree. Um, JUCOs can be a great chance for you to continue to develop as a player, continue to develop as a person, to get a good education while you're doing all the stuff that happens in life, and you're not thrust into a new world with expectations, and it's either you make it or you don't. We're here for that support. We're here to help you, and we want you to get better and to be successful, whether it's on the field, the classroom, or somewhere down the road. Keep playing.
Absolutely. Love it. Well, Coach, I really do appreciate the time. And I was able to quickly scan your bio online and realize we're both Bobcats. So
Oh, hey.
love that,
Yeah.
But
I figured with the green, it was somewhere in there.
yeah, close enough. But you grabbed me on my green day, but wish you the best of luck. I know it's going to be a learning process and a lot to get through this first year, but I'm sure you'll do great things, and we'll keep an eye on you and check back in and hopefully visit you when you're lifting that banner up to the rafters.
We're hoping the guys did it in 2002, 2003, national title winners. So it's the women, we're going to get there. As the girls that are here now, and the girls that are going to be here soon, that's going to be the start of something great.
Awesome. Well, we hope that's the case, and wish you the best of luck, Coach.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.